Hello YouTube, Chance Paladin here. I have an announcement tonight to make, which is that I got a new job. And there could be a lot of people coming here because they got a new job. Maybe they haven't worked in the corporate environment before, or maybe they have, but it's been a while. And I think this is a good refresher. I think all of these are a good refresher for if you're going into a new environment or back to an environment, whatnot. And this is, I don't know if I'd say that this is the most important. I'm not sure which, if any of these are the most important, but this is my presentation on personality, learning, and expression. I'm going to be making references and stuff, and I'll go over those references as I go. So this isn't all my information, because there's only a handful of actual real legitimate pioneers in this, so I'll do my best to reference them. And leave the comments, or in the description I will put as many of the links I can back to these original areas. So blah blah blah. Let's go. Yes, I know. There's a cat. There's gonna be lots of cats. I hope you like cats. So personality, learning, and expression. We're going to be talking about personality types, learning styles, facial expressions, and nonverbal communication, and microexpression. Introduction. Determining personality, learning style, and emotion is a great tool for working with people, especially new people. It is one of many ways of finding common ground towards a goal or an avenue to begin interfacing. Even though we all technically speak English, you soon realize that we seldom understand each other truly. This most often manifests itself as say what you mean, not what you say, or why don't you just get to the point even though you thought you'd got to the point. If you can identify how someone thinks and learns, you can properly communicate and motivate them to help you complete your audits or whatever you're doing and continually improve procedures and systems. Remember, this isn't just for auditing, this is just, you can use this stuff for anything pretty much. So most communications nonverbal, so I know I could throw statistics and numbers out there, but that's all stuff that other people's done. You can go look it up. You know that men and women don't seem to be able to talk to each other worth a darn. Engineers and IT can't talk to each other worth a darn. I mean, we all speak English, it just doesn't matter. If you've ever tried to talk to somebody with English as a second language, they're speaking English, but doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We could be speaking a word, it could mean two different things. And I run into all that time talking to people from Australia, Germany, and UK. I mean, there's whole websites dedicated to how many words that we have that are the same but mean different things. So, however, facial expressions are the same, and most of our communication is nonverbal. So, if you learn facial expressions and all of that, you will go a long way towards communicating and understanding people. So the first thing we're going to do is go over the personalities now. I'm not going to do a personality test here or whatever, and there's tons of personality sites out there. As far as I know, most of them are based in one way or the other off of Kelly Vrella's self-assessments. However, there's also, it's called Strength Finder, which I know is being used a lot more. However, that seems to find like work strengths and weaknesses, and I'm not sure that has so much to do with personality. It just has to do with comfort versus discomfort in types of work. So that's one of the many reasons why I don't go over things like Strength Finder on here. But that's more if you're going to be happy with a job. Kelly Vrella's stuff is whether or not you're going to get along with people. And if you've taken any emotional intelligence classes, or maybe you haven't yet, or maybe you never will, but I believe that you should, they talk about how you really need to understand yourself before you understand other people. So if you're not getting along with other people, or if you don't understand other people, the first person you need to understand is you. So think about it right now, whether or not you're a socializer, executive director, local team player, factual resource. Again, this is Kelly Vrella's stuff. There on the left side, it's paraphrased. On the right side, this is my interpretation, because it seems to slightly change, not by a lot, but it's basically, do you care about being noticed or appreciated? Do you just want to get the work done? Do you just wish everybody could get along? Or do you want to get it right the first time through basically data searching or some other kind of fact finding where you have cold hard facts? So think about this. This is the first, in my opinion, this is the first step to the whole puzzle, is your personality. And if people aren't getting along in a department, HR departments are starting to make you take these, and then they confidentially retain it all. So when two people aren't getting along, they pull up your scores and say, okay, we've got a socializer and a director sitting right next to each other. Now, they might not be an actual director. They may be the exact same position. But the socializer may just be driving the factual resource. The socializer may be driving the factual resource guy or gal nuts, because they go, OMG, everything's going wrong. And then the factual resource goes, okay, where's the data? And the socializer goes, there's no data, what do you mean? Can't you just see it? And then the factual resource freaks out. So, this is very important. Okay, moving on. Learning styles. Learning styles is very important, because if you're trying to teach somebody something or explain something to them, it doesn't. You don't have to be a teacher, like literally with a teacher's degree just to teach. But knowing these three styles is incredibly important. And I don't know where these originally came from. I just hear them repeated a lot, and it's very, very true. So there's the visual folks that like the graphs, charts, diagrams, and illustrations. There's the auditory people who kind of follow the auditing rules, and it's weird because, auditory hearing, auditing, I don't know how that manages to work out, but basically tell them what you're going to do it, then tell them what you just did, which is basically auditing 101, right? And then there's kinesthetic, which is having some kind of activity, physical examples like handouts, props. And the reason why I use cats on here is because they seem to have they have facial expressions too, even though they're animals. They don't have all the facial expressions, but they have lots and lots of nonverbal communication, tons of posturing, and you can sit there and watch cats all day and cat politics and cat drama, and you could replace that with people, and it would be the same thing. So anyway, I thought just to drive the point home, use cat faces. I don't know. Sorry. That's Ringo, by the way. Nonverbal communication. Communication is almost entirely nonverbal, like I said earlier. If you want to communicate properly, you need to learn this. There's no way I can cover it all, as there are entire books on the topic, literally. But here's some good places to start. In my opinion, faces are the best place to begin. Some people will say clothes. Some people will say hand gestures. I don't buy into it, because hand gestures can be taught. Clothes can be bought. But unless you're taking some serious medication or Botox, faces are the way to go, if you can learn. There's a lot of people that think they can read others' expressions, but since it happens so fast, because the muscles and part of the brain move before you can actually control it, unless you're seasoned pro, you actually can't read other people's expressions. You just think you can, most of the time. Or you can only spot a couple. Body language is also very important to learn to read, but can vary from culture to culture. A nod in one culture is a shake or shrug in the other, and you've probably seen videos or whatever where there's like 20 different ways to flip the bird to somebody, the freeway finger. Depending on what country you're in, making one gesture in, the UK could be a horrible gesture in China or something, who knows? Or it could be something completely different in the United States. That's why I suggest everybody traveling abroad needs to take some kind of global economics class or some kind of global sales class so you can understand the different regions before you go there and make an ass of yourself. Or if you're traveling for a corporation, see if they've got some kind of onboarding class so you don't make an ass out of yourself. Anyway, that's Pill. Pill says, clothing and dress is very important, but it's merely formality to people. You can't judge a book by its cover. And he's wearing like a robe kind of a thing, but it doesn't really matter because he's still a cat. He's not a person or a pillow. He's a cat. So the point there is, my friend was going over this thing where he's like, wear this color, wear that color, da-da-da-da-da, first impressions and this and that. And I get that. There's something to that. But I think more than people want to admit, there's a portion of the culture that just completely ignores formality. They completely ignore clothing and dress. And then there's like there's the middle ground, the people that care but can think for themselves. And then there's the hypercritical, deconstructive crowd that's like, OMG, your pants aren't ironed and your boots aren't your shoes aren't shined. This is going to be a problem. And oh my gosh, there's going to be like a rip on your shirt sometimes. There's going to be a button out of place. It's going to happen. You can't be 100% on point all the time. You can try, but you're just going to wear yourself out. So you've got kind of these three subcultures forcing everybody else to wear stuff almost in fear. Well, do you want this communication? Do you want that communication? It's important, but don't live your entire life in fear because you don't have the right color shirt that day. That's what I'm trying to say. Because on the inside, once you break that barrier, the inside comes out, and that's what's important. Facial expressions and microexpression. This is some of Paul Ekman's work. Check him out on paulekman.com. This stuff's super important, and there's whole groups of people dedicated to this, and consultants, teachers, and entire TV show you've probably heard of, Lie to Me, and if you haven't, go check that out. There's also great videos on YouTube about all the politicians and actors and some people that are convicted of murder and some people that actually didn't do it, and you can walks through all their microexpressions. So Paul Ekman's stuff is the real deal, and basically observing genuine expressions can tell you how, but not why the audit's going without having to ask. As you get more experience reading expressions, it can also answer most of your questions without the person having to tell you how, but not why they really think or feel. Again, I keep saying this, a lot of people think they know these, but like I keep saying, it tells you like the how, not the why, or the what, not the why. It doesn't have motive, and it doesn't have intention behind it. It just has that there's something there. And people already now, again, like I said, they think they know some, or they may know a couple. If you read too much into it, or if you misread it, or if you take it personally, it doesn't do you any good. You have to be able to passively recognize it and make the appropriate response. So, if there's happiness or surprise, that could be for a lot of different reasons. You've got to be able to react appropriately. If you start seeing anger, fear, contempt, they might not be mad at you. You may have hit a sore spot. Or somebody may have walked behind you. Or they may be about to clobber you in the face. As auditors, or just, in general in the office, because I haven't gotten in any physical fights at work, but in the past, but I have come just pretty much seconds before blows because of those. But because these anger and these contempt, because usually like anger, contempt, and then you start taking a step back, get your hands up, like in non-threatening, give them some space so they can walk out, and it's just really important. You can keep your head from getting taken off. You can stop other people from stopping situations from getting escalated. Or if you see somebody that's sad, you can actually, offer something positive to them. Or if there's disgust, you can ask them like if their food tastes bad. Just some obvious, some not so obvious. If somebody's happy, you can decide whether or not you're gonna crap all over their day. I don't know. There's a million different things. Those are just, I don't know why I'm thinking of those right now. So if you have gained somebody's trust, more often than not, they aren't afraid of you as they are the people around them. I can't tell you how many times somebody has started talking and they've clammed up just because somebody else walked by. I make sure and take down that person's name and talk to them next, because I want to know why people are afraid of that person. Just because everybody else is afraid doesn't mean I have to be afraid. And I'm the one that'll walk into the lion's den and root these people out. So you can't have a smooth working department when you've got animals walking around, basically. So be very observant of this, act responsibly and maturely, because we need to be taking care of the people we're auditing. And again, like I said, this isn't just for auditors. If you're in a department and it looks like there's some kind of predator situation, you've got to be cognizant of that. It's very, very important. People have lost a lot of these senses to be aware of what's going on around them. Situational awareness, okay? So, let's recap this one. This is a short one. During auditing, presentations, interviews, and meetings, you'll meet a variety of different personalities, behaviors, and expression. As an auditor, or just a good person, observant person, it's in your best interest to be able to positively overcome any conflict during audits to gather the evidence you need to file your reports. Be confident, but always make sure you have the moral high ground. It's extremely important. And Saki says, follow those helpful guidelines. Help me keep the moral high ground. Thanks. You're welcome, Saki Doodle. He's up on the shelf because he's got moral high ground. Alright, you guys, and gals, I'm gonna keep this one short, but I hope this gives you a good starting point for personality learning and expression. I go into this more later, but I'm trying to build, if you're watching these in order, I'm trying to build a nice picture for you, since usually what happens is I jump to the end, and I'm trying not to jump to the end, I'm trying to paint a nice picture. So if you go through all of these, you should be able to handle the office environment pretty well, I'm hoping. And very possibly be an auditor if you get the right auditor training for whatever you need to audit. So anyways, I'm gonna cut this one, and thanks for watching, and leave your comments, and like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and check down in the description, and I'm going to add links to Kelly Varella's stuff, Ekman's stuff, so you can check them out. Some of the most important stuff you can really get in on, to be honest, when it comes to understanding and learning about others and yourself. Emotional intelligence is important too, but anybody can teach that. And anybody can learn that if they want. But if you've already done that, great, and time to get more training. If you haven't, even if you think you know it, try to take a class so you can at least get the basics. So I talk a little bit more about it in my other training, but I assume that you at least know something about it or want to. So, alright, blah blah blah. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.